My dear viewers, hello and welcome to a new edition of Africa Today. My name is Ahmed. I have all the pleasure to be joining you, to be with you in this episode. Well, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi have reviewed on Monday the state efforts to increase the private sector's role in development and to encourage the foreign and domestic investment during talks with the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD) Secretary General Matthias Cormann in Cairo, the presidency said. The meeting was attended by Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati, the Planning Minister Ahmed and the senior OECD officials, focused on strengthening cooperation under the country program launched in 2021 and advancing economic and institutional reform. The presidential spokesperson Mohammed al-Shenawi said President al-Sisi welcomed Cormann's visit and expressed appreciation for the OECD's support for Egypt's reform efforts and comprehensive development. The president stressed Egypt's aspiration to increase cooperation with the organization in the fields of economy, investment, competitiveness, and governance. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli have stated that Egypt have successfully implemented a comprehensive economic reform program, emphasizing that the country program for Egypt CD represents a significant milestone in the bilateral cooperation, and it continues Egypt's efforts to build a more competitive business environment and improve the attractiveness of investors.
Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli on Monday asserted that Egypt continues efforts to build a more competitive business environment that proves attractive for investors. Madbouli was addressing the closing conference of the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development's country program that took place in the new capital. Madbouli said the Egyptian state has been implementing a comprehensive program for economic reform with the help of its international partners, with the aim of achieving economic growth despite the huge challenges that are hitting the region. He added that the Egyptian citizen has been and will remain the main focus and the ultimate aim of all of the state's economic profile efforts. He asserted that the economic reform program realized tangible results that supported state efforts in restructuring the economy and the conversion into sustainable economy. For his part, Minister of Planning and Economic Development Ahmed said Egypt's program with the OECD comprised 35 projects to boost the structural reforms, competitiveness and governance in accordance with Egypt's 2030 vision. Egypt's 2030 vision represents a roadmap for sustainable development in Egypt. The Egyptian program with the OECD focused on the access of the private sector to the global value chains, notably in the Suez Canal economic zone. The program was extended to herald the beginning of a new era of partnership between Egypt and the OECD, marking a significant milestone in the cooperation between Egypt and the international organization.
Well, to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone our dear guest, Dr. Ahmed Farrag, the economic expert. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello? Can you
Hello,
hear?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, Dr. Farrag, during the meeting with the OECD Secretary General, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi have highlighted the improvements in legislative and industrial frameworks in order to boost the private sector. So how would you comment on the scale and details of these improvements?
As we know, there is an Egyptian OECD country program, and it is very, very important event, and it reflects Egypt's growing international cooperation in the fields of economic reform and sustainable development. The cooperation program between Cairo and the organization aimed at supporting economic policies and improving institutional performance in line with the international standards. And of course, there are objectives that Egypt attempts to achieve through the meeting with the high-ranking official. I think Egypt attempts to strengthen the program of economic reform in the country, and it seeks to support good governance and transparency and improving investment climate to attract more foreign investment.
Yes, Dr. Farrag, the president also have noted that $10 billion loss in Suez Canal revenues due to the Bab el-Mandab instability from the fiscal planning perspective. So how is the government offsetting this massive shortfall without slowing down the capital intensive Haya Karima or decent life and housing projects?
I'm sorry, can you say it again, because it's not clear enough.
Okay, Dr. Farrag, the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi noted that $10 billion loss in the Suez Canal revenues due to the Bab el-Mandab instability from the fiscal planning perspective. So how is the government offsetting this massive shortfall?
As we know, any instability in Bab el-Mandab area would affect the movement of shipping and trade over the Red Sea, because we know the Suez of military Mandab scores badly affected.
Yes, can you hear me, Dr. Farrag? Hello? Yes. Okay. Dr. Farrag, also attending the meeting with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, stated Egypt's long-term goal of the full OECD membership. What specific structural benchmarks must the Egyptian economy hit in order to move to the country program participate to a full member?
Let's explain the country program between Egypt and the OECD. As we might see during the meeting between the Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli and the Secretary General of OECD organization, the Prime Minister expressed his appreciation for the close cooperation between Egypt and the OECD, emphasizing the importance Egypt attaches to the organization's work and collaboration. And this is reflected in Egypt's participation in several OECD committees, its membership in the OECD Development Center, as well as its co-chairmanship of the MENA OECD initiatives.
Yes, Dr. Farrag, the OECD Egypt country program uses international standards as benchmarks for the domestic policy. How can the government balance adopting these best practices with the localized challenges of the Egyptian market?
Well, as we know, there are coordination, there are discussions and exchange of expertise between the two sides, I mean the organization and the Egyptian government, to achieve such goals.
Yes. So, Doctor, with the first phase of the country program concluded, what are the specific lessons learned?
Government should pay more attention to cooperation with the international economic organization, such as this organization, which is OECD, to take advantage of the programs offered by the organization that would enable the government to implement successfully the economic reform program and raise the living standards of people.
Yes. Dr. Farrag, recently Egypt have become a participant in the OECD's Committee on SMEs. So how can this partnership help the small Egyptian businesses scale into international exporters?
Of course, the small and medium-sized enterprises got more attention by the government lately, because even in the other international experiences, as we saw in Malaysia, we can achieve, for example, economic performance through paying more attention to the owners of small and medium-sized enterprises.
Yes, yes.
They need, for example, incentives, they need financing, they need marketing, and of course, and they need more. They need more support from the government to be able to reach the external markets to sell their products. Yes,
thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Dr. Ahmed Farrag, economic expert. An RSF drones have killed 11 civilians on Saturday when it hit a vehicle in Greater Khartoum, the second such attack in the Sudanese capital this week. 9 of the victims were relatives of an ex-commander of the Rapid Support Forces militia.
An RSF militia drone attack hit the family home of a defected former commander, now aligned with the army, killing 9 of his relatives. Sources said the strike on Saturday hit the family house of Abu Aqla Kaikal, commander of the Sudan Shield Forces, in the village of Al-Kahili, around 40 kilometers east of Wadi Madani, the capital of Al Jazeera state in central Sudan. They blamed the attack on the Rapid Support Militia fighting the National Sudanese Army since April 2023. Among those killed were 6 children from the family. Kaikal previously served as the RSF's commander in Al Jazeera state, where he has been accused of besieging entire villages. He defected to the army's side in October 2024, after which these fighters joined military operations that helped the army recapture key areas of central Sudan, including Al Jazeera and the capital Khartoum. Both the RSF and the Sudan Shield Forces militias have faced accusations of committing atrocities during Sudan's ongoing conflict. Drone strikes have intensified in recent months, at times killing dozens of people in a single attack. Khartoum was hit twice this week for the first time in months, while fighting has escalated elsewhere, including in Darfur, southern Kordofan and southeastern Blue Nile state. Now in its 4th year, Sudan's war has killed tens of thousands of people, with some estimates placing the death toll above 200,000, displaced millions, and triggered one of the world's largest humanitarian crises.
Welcome back. A well-known Malian lawyer and a politician critical of the ruling junta was abducted by masked men in the capital Bamako. The details in the following report.
Masked men abducted a Malian lawyer known for opposing the ruling junta. His disappearance comes as Mali's junta faces a major crisis following large-scale attacks on several of its strategic positions last weekend and the killing of his defense minister. The assaults are being carried out by Tuareg separatists and Al-Qaeda operatives. The lawyer was a member of the M5 RFP movement, a key player in the protests that led to the toppling of former President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. Initially an ally of the military officers who seized power in 2020, he subsequently distanced himself from the junta, becoming a vocal critic. On the ground last week, attacks targeted several strategic positions held by the junta and army across Mali. Areas targeted were notably Bamako and the nearby garrison town Kati. They left at least 23 people dead. Civilians and children were among those killed and injured during the attacks. On Friday, the prosecutor's office said it had solid evidence of complicity of certain military personnel, accusing them of helping with the planning, coordination and execution of the attacks.
Egypt's under-17 team coach Hussein Abdellatif have announced on Sunday the final squad that will participate in the 2026 under-17 Africa Cup of Nations this month. The continental tournament is due to kick off on the 13th of May in Morocco. Egypt's youth team were drawn in Group A alongside hosts Morocco, Tunisia and Ethiopia. According to a statement by the Egyptian Football Association EFA, the 26-man squad includes Amir Abulaiz, forward who plays for Italian club Monza, and Amir Hassan, a centre-back with Dutch club Utrecht. In their last preparatory game for the tournament, the young Pharaohs were held to 2-2 draw with Japan. And with this, we come to the end of Africa Today. My name is Ahmed. Thank you for watching.